That's where even the media is taking shots at the media. That is so petty.
Because it's just Tony's opinion.
Yeah,
it might be different from yours.
No, that is.
But that's okay.
To say that a guy left early, that is. You know what? I got to tell you, we got to start getting some legal action against some of these people. I mean, I'm wondering what exactly we can do. It's ridiculous right now.
And people use it like they're looking for any reason why somebody screwed something up or isn't credible or all Tony has done is cover the Browns for 35 years.
Listen,
he votes on the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't have to sit here and run down his resume for USA Today donkey or Robert Klemko of Monday Morning Quarterback or whatever.
No name calling.
They started it. They came after my guy first, and I'm not going to hold back when it comes to coming back after them. They have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Well, we do know this. The Nationals catch on a lot later than we do, and that's our little thing. And Aaron, I would just say consider the source. And I really don't. We'll talk to Tony about it. He'll be in here today, but I'm very, very surprised. He's worked with Tony for a very long time. Let me just say this. Tony has the Browns' best interest at heart. That's where this all comes from. Don't think for a minute Tony is campaigning himself. We were just talking before Tony came on. Both of us, we got to get the hell out of this business. It's gone totally mad. Yeah. It's crazy. You got 21-year-old kids taking shots at Hall of Fame reporters who vote on the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, that's just a joke. And I think it's ridiculous. But with that said, I promise you, Tony wants what's best for the Browns. Tony and I aren't going to be doing this much longer. We would like to see the Browns at least go to the Super Bowl before we retire. We've done this for 30-some years, and they've never gone. So please understand, any agenda you think Tony has is based on him wanting the Browns to win. He tries not to show it. He tries to be objective as a reporter because he's more of a reporter than me and the talk show host. But I promise you, he grew up a Browns fan. And his father and his family loved Paul Brown the way mine did. And it's embarrassing to us to see what has happened to the Browns. And all we want to do is see him have a couple of good years here and make a damn run. You watch teams like the Rams and Jaguars friggin' turn it around in 2 years. I mean, come on. It's pretty frustrating for us, okay? I just promise you, Tony, please tell everyone you don't have some agenda.
Russ. That's well said. Agenda, we got a national guy, Klemko, who's taking shots at me, and he's embedded with this kid. He's been given personal access
to Baker Mayfield
to write about him for 10 weeks in a row, and it's in his best interest that the guy has a fairy tale ending and goes number one in the draft. He's the one with the agenda, not me. Right? I mean, it's his best interest that this kid gets drafted number one. And I'm just telling you what I think. And this is not the right quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
But Are you guys sure?
Yeah, he just tweeted that he's
Klemko,
on hold right now. Yep.
He's on line 2. Hang on. From Sports Illustrated. Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Robert.
What's up, guys? I my ears were burning. I heard somebody talking about me. What's up?
We were talking about Robert. What did we say? Which one is Robert? I'm losing.
Robert works with Peter at MMQB and Sports Illustrated.
Okay.
And Robert is the one who was critical of Tony's. Tony Grossi is in studio, by the way, Robert, with us now.
Yeah. Yep. What did you write about Tony, Robert?
Well, I think Tony keeps making these comparisons to Johnny Manziel with Baker Mayfield. And when you compare a kid like Baker, who has made mistakes, to a person who, is coke addicted and alleged wife beater, then I think it's irresponsible.
Well, he's not married, Johnny.
Excuse me, an alleged girlfriend beater.
Okay. I'm comparing him to the pre-NFL career Johnny. Okay, the guy who was sensational in college, just like Baker. The guy who won the Heisman, just like Baker Mayfield. And the guy who slayed the Dragons in college, just like Baker, and played in an offense similar to Baker. Okay?
Here's the difference, Tony, and because I've done the work, because I'm doing this series on this guy. I made open records police requests with 6 different jurisdictions, everywhere he's ever lived since he was 14 years old. And the only thing that comes up is the arrest in Arkansas. Okay, dumb move, right, for this guy. I go to his hometown, Austin. I talk to everybody that's ever met him. I talk to people that have observed him in bars in Austin. I'm going to Norman to talk to people there, sitting down with the head coach, the strength coach, all these people. I've never heard a hint of anything that would make me compare him to Johnny Manziel, whose reputation coming out of school was trash. One of the scouts who scouted Johnny for the Cleveland Browns, the area scout, recommended against the advice of the owner to not pick Johnny Manziel. The entire scouting staff was against picking Johnny Manziel for the reasons that we all came to learn. The owner decided to pick Johnny Manziel. That's not going to be the case with any team that drafts Baker Mayfield because he's a different person. And so to continue to make that comparison does a disservice to Baker, but more than anything, it does a disservice to you as a journalist. It's lazy.
It's very, very appropriate. As a player, they're similar, okay? You can't deny they're similar as players.
Yeah,
but that's not the only comparison that you've been making. You've been comparing them off the field.
No, I think he's brash like Johnny. You don't think he's brash like Johnny? You don't think he's a me guy?
There's three quarterbacks in every draft that are brash like Johnny, but you don't compare them to Johnny. You know what you're saying when you make that comparison, and you're being disingenuous.
I told you it has nothing to do with what happened to Johnny after he got here, other than he failed on the field. I don't think he's the right quarterback for the Browns. Why do you take that so personally?
I don't take it personally
at all. Because you're doing
a
series on him, and it's in your best interest that he becomes the number one pick?
Don't you think that it would have also done well for the series if he had all these other legal issues? I would have written it.
No,
it would have done fine.
The legal issues are not my comparison. I've never said that.
So why not compare him to some quarterback who's also brash but isn't one of the biggest screw-ups in NFL history?
Well, Robert, who's that? I mean, you've compared him to Russell Wilson. You did a whole piece on him, and then he goes out and runs a 4.8, where Russell Wilson ran 4.5 something.
You compare him to Russell Wilson on the field, and the only reason I made that comparison is because I sat down with Russell Wilson's former offensive coordinator, Dale Bevel, and he talked about how similar they were as players, not in terms of the straight speed, but the pocket mobility. You see, I do the work, Tony.
Well, he's not going to be running away from linebackers running a 4.8 in the NFL.
You're absolutely right, but he is going to move out of the way and extend with his feet the way that Russell does.
Yeah, well, guys, listen, Robert, obviously we have a difference of opinion here. Tony does not think Baker Mayfield's the right quarterback for the Browns, and you think he would be a great fit. And we'll just have to leave it at that. I don't think Tony's taking personal shots.
Robert, let me say this. I think knowing Tony and working with him for a long time, calling him lazy is just a bad look for you. I don't understand why you feel the need to do that, because I don't think it's true. I think you and Tony happen to disagree.
Yeah.
But I think going to the lazy card, I don't understand why you feel the need to do that, Robert. That rubs me the wrong way as Tony's teammate. I want to let you know that.
Okay, and I understand that, but I can't read everything that Tony's written about Baker Mayfield and all the comparisons that he makes to somebody who has literally no comparable features except for, in some small ways, the way they play on the field, and not come to the conclusion that it's lazy. Maybe Tony does other work that, he puts a lot of effort and reporting into. He hasn't into this, and I know because I have.
Robert, do you think Baker is immature?
Do I think Baker is immature? I do think that he lacks a certain amount of maturity that he will gain when he gets to the NFL.
Okay, there's another comparison to Johnny. Johnny was immature.
I also think that 90% of the guys at the NFL scouting combine are immature.
Robert,
and they all grow up.
Yeah. Also, Tony's not the only person in the media comparing Baker Mayfield to Johnny Manziel. I understand Baker Mayfield doesn't like the comparison, but it's something he's going to have to deal with. And what he'll have to do is prove everybody wrong on the field. And we'll see if he could do that by whoever drafts him. Do you, as you're running this piece and working with Baker, does he think he has a shot to go to Cleveland?
Okay, so just to be clear, I'm not working with Baker. We told them from the beginning of this series that it's a journalistic enterprise, okay?
Okay, well, you're working with him. I don't mean for him. I said you're working with him in whatever journalistic capacity it is. I'd asked you a question. Do you think he gets the feeling Cleveland is in play?
I do. I think he's got that feeling. I think he felt like he had a positive interview with him. His agents are optimistic and believe that he'll go in the top 10. I tend to agree with them on that. Although if some of these teams find solutions during free agency, I think several of these quarterbacks will move down. But I do think he is in play for the Browns.
Okay. Anything else?
Robert, to me, I think the comparison between Mayfield and Manziel, if you're through the lens of Cleveland, is an obvious one. I don't think it's a lazy one. I think it's
a little snake bitten here, Robert.
It's an obvious
after
one.
everything we went through. You got to understand.
Well, look, I think you have to put on your journalist glasses and try to be unbiased. And in any case, if you want,
we can't be. We just went through this situation with Manziel, and there are things about Baker that remind us of Johnny.
You're telling me ESPN Cleveland is incapable of being unbiased?
Yeah, we host talk shows here, Robert. We're not. It's not our job to write news stories at ESPN Cleveland. What we do here is a talk show. We have an opinion. We have opinions on this show, and Tony's opinion is different than yours. That doesn't mean he's lazy. It just means he sees things through the lens of Cleveland.
Going forward, if you have an opinion that I'm in the bag for a player and you want to talk about it on the radio, give me a call. You have my number.
Did he just hang up?
Yeah, you just dropped the mic.
Okay, I don't understand. I don't understand where this is coming from. Tony, who is Robert Klemko? Have you ever heard of him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he does good work.
Okay.
For SI.com.
And what is he? Why does he feel?
I don't know why
he
takes it so
Baker
personally.
Mayfield?
That's what I don't understand. I mean, everyone's entitled to an opinion. And the fact that I have this strong opinion that he's not the right quarterback for the Browns, I guess interferes with what he thinks.
Well, again, I don't know Robert, but I'm sure he does a good job at what he does. But I understand people disagree, and you guys definitely disagree. Tony, to an extent, I disagree with you. You know, I'm giving Baker Mayfield a lot more of a chance than you are, but I'm not going to get confrontational over it with you. I feel like you've done this long enough to be able to form your own opinion. Aaron, real quick, he kept going to the journalist card. Please explain to everyone, Tony's allowed to give his opinion. He works for our station.
Let me say this as Tony's former manager. I'm not his current manager. His current manager is a guy named Evan Cohen. But Tony was hired here not to be a Browns reporter, okay? That was his job at the Cleveland Plain Dealer.
Right.
For how many years, Tony, did you work? 20? How many years?
28.
For 28 years, Tony's job was to be a Browns reporter. One of the reasons that the job here appealed to Tony in talking to Tony about this through the process was that he would have the opportunity to become a multimedia personality and not just a writer. And secondly, that you would have the freedom to share your opinion on the Browns in whatever way you saw fit.
That's right.
Do you feel like
analyst? Tony is an analyst,
right?
And there's the whole journalism thing. And I get that Robert is doing a journalistic piece for SI. By the way, no bias in that journalism, right? Listening to him talk, Robert, you would think Robert was the one that was biased,
and he hung up.
Which he is pro Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And we understand that, and that's great. But I love when people tell you what your job. You don't know what Tony's job is, Robert. Do you get it? This isn't objective reporting. We're not working for USA Today or SI.com or CBS or whatever. Tony is our Browns analyst. He votes on the Hall of Fame. He's covered the team for 33 years, and we want his perspective. I'm sorry if it doesn't align with what you believe. And for him to call up here, number one, and then hang up like this is some kind of confrontational is ridiculous. It really is. Dude just hung up on us.
Also, he was the one calling Tony lazy and not reaching out to communicate with us. So don't make it sound like we were talking behind your back.
He called you lazy because your opinion disagreed with his. And I thought that was a cheap shot.
I just want to say the first day I was hired here at ESPN Cleveland, someone sat me down and said, your days of working for newspapers are over.
Right.
We don't want just to know what the Browns did. We want to know what you thought of they did. And that's been my marching orders since I've been here for 6 years. So a little difference of opinion there. But I've been taken aback by his how invested he is in Baker's, where he ends up. I mean, I didn't bring it up, but he tweeted at me saying, well, the quarterback's not, you cover a team and the quarterback's not going to be available to you if you keep this up. Do you think I care? I think I care if Baker Mayfield likes or dislikes what I say or write. I mean, that's never governed how I do my job.
Riz, to your point, I disagree with the stuff that Tony writes, and sometimes I think it's about Baker Mayfield. There are things that I don't see eye to eye with you on, or I think sometimes you're a little over the top.
I hear this.
I think if anybody's going to turn that franchise around, it'd be me.
I get hooked. You know me. I'm just a fan. I trust
But we
Tony's
respect your right to share your opinion in the colorful way that makes you different and special at your job, Tony.
Yeah. I just love when people think they know what your job is and really they don't. And that's happened to me as well. TV guys around here, I'm not a TV guy. You can go slave over your 6 and 10 o'clock news. I'm done doing that. I'm on the talk show circuit here, buddy. Okay, I'm done at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Whatever you're doing, I'm sorry. Tony, I thought it was odd that he called up. I tried to have a nice conversation, and for him to just hang up like a high school kid, I thought was weak. So we'll just leave it at that. Anything you want to say?
No, I think he said it all.
Yeah, we said it all. All right, we'll break and come back. RJ's here. We'll talk Oscars. My goodness, this is ESPN 850 WKNR.